staying with us on Point, the Japanese government says it's too early to begin talking about the next political era in the country following Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's resignation due to health reasons. The Japanese leader has been admitted to hospital twice in the last 2 weeks, although no details were given. Abe has suffered for many years from an inflammatory bowel disease. His condition is said to have worsened recently. Last year, he became Japan's longest-serving premier. His current period in office began in 2012 and was to end next year. Abe has a reputation as a staunch conservative and nationalist and for stimulating growth with his aggressive economic policy known as Abenomics. Let's get more on this with our reporter in Tokyo, Grace Lee. A very good afternoon to you in South Africa, Grace. What more do we know about the Prime Minister's health and what has he expressed regret over while stepping down?
Yeah, just as you explained, the Prime Minister suffers from ulcerative colitis and inflammatory bowel disease. And he's had this disease since middle school, so he's been dealing with it for a very long time. In fact, it forced his resignation in 2007 when this illness kind of took over his life once again. So this is the second time that we are seeing the Prime Minister step down from his post due to this illness. And it seems like for the past few weeks, things have been getting worse. A lot of his aides had been talking to media saying that the Prime Minister has been increasingly stressed due to COVID-19 and Japan's response to that. So that might have been what has driven the Prime Minister into overdrive and has gotten him to this point where today he said that he can no longer do his duties and take care of his health at the same time.
Grace, then what implications does that have for Japan's COVID-19 response as he steps down abruptly?
Yeah, very interestingly, the Prime Minister today at the press conference started out by talking about Japan's COVID response. He talked about some of his resignations about it and some of his regrets about how COVID was handled in Japan. People have died even though he tried his best. And so you can see that COVID-19 has been at the top of his mind and the top of a lot of government officials as this announcement comes through. But of course, the worry is that there's going to be a huge political vacuum in the middle of this pandemic now. There will be a race within the leading LDP party to claim that top job of Abe's, and whoever is elected to that position within that party will be holding his term until Abe's term was set to end in late next year. So we will have to see what happens with that. But nonetheless, it is going to cause quite a bit of havoc during the pandemic, and Japan is expecting to see numbers rise in the next few months as we see the seasonal flu come back as well.
So earlier, the Nikkei share stock average plunged around 2.6% ahead of that announcement. There were jitters about what exactly was going to happen. How's the business sector reacting now that it's been confirmed that he is stepping down?
Yeah, we saw markets dipping earlier. The dollar, or the yen rather, rose against the dollar. But all in all, experts say that whatever impact this has had on the markets, it will likely be short-term impacts. A lot of people weren't really surprised by this announcement from the Prime Minister today. He has been largely absent from press conferences, from facing the public in the past few months, and that's what's really led the press and the public to believe that there was something wrong with the Prime Minister's health. They were anticipating that perhaps he might step down today. So it doesn't come as a complete surprise. And at the same time, a lot of people aren't looking to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe for leadership anymore. That role has been largely filled by regional leaders like Governor Yuriko Koike here in Tokyo. So all in all, it seems that the public it didn't really catch them by that much of a surprise. They're now just anticipating what might come next and the chaos that this might cause for Japan's political landscape.
Grace Lee, our correspondent in Tokyo, they're giving us an update on the resignation of the Prime Minister there.